Seven Champs. I hope you're having a blessed and positive day. So this video is for anybody that feels like they end up in a lot of situations alone and they feel like they have nobody to fall back on or nobody to turn to. Stay till the end because this video is for you. There are times in our life that we may end up in situations that are very difficult and very challenging. And sometimes we look for the world to comfort us. We look to the world to help us and satisfy us during those problems. And God wants you to start relying on Him. In those moments where you can't turn to anyone or depend on family, friends, loved ones, whoever it is, and you seem like you can't depend on them or you can't turn to them, it's just God showing you that He wants you to start depending on Him more. A lot of times when you go through stuff, you run to everyone else, not realizing that God is trying to teach you to depend on Him in those moments. It's very important that you remind yourself that you are not alone in your difficult situation. You're not alone in the season that you are in. You have to trust and believe and know that God is dependable and He will help you out of every situation that you've been through. Now, God will send people to bless you and help you, but you have to remember that the people are not your source. It's God. The job is not your source. The home you live in is not the source. It's always been God. Remind yourself of that and keep that in the forefront. So whenever you're going through a difficult situation, whenever you're going through a hard time, just know that God is going to use it to show you that He is dependable and that He will continue to make a way in your situation. So don't always get caught up with who is not helping you and why are you always in difficult situations alone. God is just using it to help you grow. He's using it to help you mature. He's using it to give you wisdom in all areas that you need to elevate in. God also uses it to show you that you can fully depend on Him. How would you know if God was dependable if you never went through anything? If you never had your back against the wall time and time again by yourself, how would you know that He is dependable? He has to put you in situations and scenarios where you are by yourself and only He can pull you out. And what that shall teach you is that you have to just trust and rely in Him. That's why God said, don't put your full trust in man, because human beings, us as people, we can't always help. We have our own problems. We have our own issues, our own family that we have to deal with. So don't ever put your whole trust in any human. God said, put your trust in Him, because He is the one that's going to save you. He is the one that's going to rescue you out of your dry land, out of the desert place that you have been in. He is the one that's going to help you. But I know right now you're in a season like, why am I always by myself? Why do I always have to deal with this problem and have nobody to turn to? It's just God teaching you that you can depend and rely on Him. That's all. He wants to teach you that He will always make a way in your wilderness. And how can He teach you that? By putting you through situations where nobody you can turn to help you. Nobody. So you have no choice but to look to God. God has pulled me out of so many situations where I had to deal with on my own because I didn't have anyone to turn to. But what that made me turn to Him more, that made me rely on Him more, that made me trust Him more, because I knew that He has helped me out through every situation I've been through. He's helped me out through every problem I've been through. Why wouldn't He do it again? If He's the same God that He was last year, if He's the same God that He was the year before, then why wouldn't He bless you again? Why wouldn't He make a way again? He'll never stop making a way. He'll always be dependable. But in order for you to know that he's dependable, he got to put you in some tight situations that only he can pull you out of. And once he do that time and time again, you'll start to realize, you know what? I can depend on God. And then you have to start reading the word over your situation. So if you're in a tough situation, keep reminding yourself, I lack nothing. Remind yourself, God supplies all my needs. Remind yourself that God has ordained an abundant life for me. Remind yourself that you are the head and not the tail. That you are above and not beneath. You have to speak these things over yourself and over your situation. You have to remind yourself, during this dark time, during this difficult situation, I know that I can depend on God. I know that he will pull me out. But the only way I found out that God was dependable, by putting me in the situation where I needed to depend on only him. Because what will happen is, if you always have somebody to run to and always have somebody to fall back on, your trust will be in them more than it is in God. See, you'll start idolizing the person who always helps you instead of idolizing the source. You'll always run to that person instead of running to God. And it creates a false sense of authority in your life. Not realizing that God was the source all along. And God may have used them to help you. And he may have used them to get you through a situation. But God is the one who can pull you out of any situation. Not the one you always lean and fall back on. They're not going to be the ones that's always going to be there. There's going to be moments where you're depressed and upset and in your room alone. Who's going to be there then? God. So remember who your source is. Remember who provides. Remember who always makes a way. That's what I want to remind you guys. That just because you're feeling alone in this situation, just because you got to do it alone, just because your family may not be there to help you, or your friends, or whoever, know that you can trust in God. And God will put who he needs to put in place to help and make a way in your situation. But remind yourself that it has always been God. God has always been the one to make a way. God has always been the one providing for you all along. All along. So don't trust in human beings. Don't put your full trust in them. You can trust them, but if the word says don't put your full trust in them, God knows that there's going to be times they can't help you. God knows there's going to be times where they're dealing with their own problems. God knows there's going to be times where they can't provide for you like he can. Go to your Father. He controls it all. He has everything. So go to him for your source. He's your source. Don't depend on nobody else. Depend on him, and he'll put the right people in place to help you. But your trust fully has to be in him. All right, chosen chairs, y'all have a blessed and positive day. I love you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.